everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kristi Hall, and this is our wonderful podcast, How to Drought Proof Your Retirement. I have my wonderful co-host, Marian, here, and I'm going to ask her to introduce herself in just a moment. But I want to tell you about our wonderful guest, Miss Jessie Jenkins. And I have so many questions and so many thoughts for her. And she is going to just really tell you about her vision and how she's making an impact in this world. So Marian, my wonderful co-host, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about you?
Oh, okay. I would like that. Oh man, it is a wonderful day to be here. I am very happy to have Jessie as one of our first guests on our show. This is very important to us because I am the person I am, Marian LaSalle. I have been thinking about retirement, say, for 5 minutes. I didn't think about it when I was young. As a matter of fact, when I was young, that was the last thing on my mind. I'm never going to retire, I said to myself, so I didn't prepare like I should have. So if that's you, if you can relate to what I'm saying here, I think you should listen. We're going to be talking about how to prepare yourself, even if you're a youngster and you've never even heard the word retirement. Today, we're going to be asking Jessie some questions, and we're going to be discussing with Kristi and myself some of the ways that we all could either prepare, or if we're already in retirement, like me, we can celebrate retirement. So
Right.
I've been excited about this podcast for a long time, and Kristi and I just finished a book called How to Drought Proof Your Retirement with affiliate marketing. And if Kristi can bring that up on the screen, I would love that.
I
And
sure can.
and then I'm going to turn it over to Jessie to ask her some wonderful questions. So go download your copy right now, How to Drought Proof Your Retirement. And
Awesome.
where do they do that? They do it on creativecontentcrusaders.com.
Yes, and I think we have you got it. You got it. Thank you, Marian. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. Jessie, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. And also, one of the things that I always like to ask our guests is about your niche. How did you determine what your niche was going to be? And was that based on personal experience or just your expertise? So I would love any information about that, and just let us know a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me, both of you, Marian and Kristi. I so appreciate this. It's quite an honor. And I'm thrilled to be able to share some of my thoughts and what I do, because to get a word out to people of what I do is so very important, because if it influenced my life, if it has been productive in my life, then I want others to also benefit from the same arena that I've been in. So I came from a software corporate background. I was a consultant who went around and installed software, demoed software, did presentations, helped and supported the tech industry of the salespeople. And I worked my way up to district manager. And so it was my foundation because it's something that I absolutely loved. But as time went on and things changed, I started to look for something a little less, what's my thoughts, not as appreciated. I wanted something that I could really thrive from, and moved out of the corporate world into the internet marketing world a number of years ago, probably at this point, like 17, 18 years ago.
Okay.
And so that's kind of my background as far as where I got here. And you asked me about my niche, and
Yes.
the niche that I discovered and I have tried various different things, and I was always kind of thinking this is where I should be. This is where I should go based on things that I heard other people doing. But I had a wonderful interview with a coach as he was trying to understand better what maybe would be my best area. And I kind of lit up when I explained to him how I helped people on the technical level that didn't understand technology. And as simple as how to navigate around your PC with, say, Windows, or even use your phone and things of that nature. And I realized that was where I loved being the most, being in technology, but also serving people, helping them, educating them. I think that's a better word, educating them.
Right.
And that's how I came into what I'm doing today.
Okay. So you are starting a podcast. In fact, it's starting tomorrow. Would
Yes.
you be able to share just a little bit about what that is about, what your vision is, and what you hope to do to serve those that are tuning in?
Wonderful. Well, it's a fabulous avenue in order to broaden your audience and reach more people. That's been my goal. But by doing that, my feeling is that I'm going to be able to share my experience, what I might be able to offer, so that I can help others attain their goals, maybe help them figure out what it is that they're wanting to do. And so the way I look at it is that we have various dimensions. We're not single dimension. We're not just one interest. For instance, people are interested in improving their finances, improving their fitness and health.
Right.
Perhaps, and if they don't realize it yet, perhaps in improving their mindset. And so what I hope to do during this podcast is share some of my experience around improving your mindset, improving your finances, and an interest deep and endearing to me as well is physical fitness, health, and wellness. So important. And that's another dimension. And it's not something I often talk about.
Right.
It's not necessarily something I, have products in around that, but because it's a love of what I do and what I like doing, I have found products that are helping me. So why not share that? So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's
Jessie,
what
I
I'm
want to ask you a very important question about what you just described. Do you have any success stories? Do you have any ideas that might help somebody else that's going through the same thing?
Yes, I do. I have a
I
couple
knew
of
you would.
areas. I'll say around what I do. It's consulting with individuals who require knowledge around technology. In the one area of finance, I'm in the cryptocurrency industry. And there are a lot of people who want to be involved in that, but are not technical. And it scares them. And they're not capable of getting involved. But if I can show them how simple really it is, and it's only a matter of they're not knowing how, I do the how-tos, how to simply get from here to here, navigating, so on and so forth. So I contracted a wonderful client who really had a lot of negativity and felt, if you could really help me, because I'm just someone who can't be helped, that would be great. And it's been about 5 years now that he's been my client, and I have seen him thrive to the point where he now is a bit more independent and can move about far more easily than he ever was able to. He knows how to make transfers. He knows how to get on his phone or his laptop and know where to go comfortably. And it gives me such great satisfaction to see that. Anyone that I know, even, and a lot of this is from experience from my previous experience as in the corporate area, because I dealt with people who were being shown new software. Their jobs were threatened. They were nervous if they were ever going to learn the new software. And I would always just tell them, hey, we all have to start somewhere. I did. This didn't happen to me overnight. So we'll take it one step at a time. I hold them through everything, and they begin to become more confident. And I do it in a way that they're actually going through the steps, not me doing it for them. I kind of insist doing it that way. So we do Zooms. I see their screen and I say, okay, we go over here. This is why you're doing this, so on and so forth, so that they're not feeling intimidated. They're feeling comfortable and so on. So those are my favorite stories when I see my clients becoming more independent and navigating and moving around, and excited when they said, hey, Jessie, I learned how to do this, or I did this on my own. Look at that. Those are my stories that I love the most. People excelling because of something I've helped them with. So that's one story. I mean, there's so many, but that one in particular is one of my favorites.
It's a great one. So you got all of your experience, or the majority of your experience, through your corporate job in technology and helping others. What skills, now you have just given us a story of someone that you helped because they didn't really have any skills and they were fearful, but you helped them through that. Are there any skills at all that you think someone must have, or it would be a great platform? Like, let's say they have an innate talent that you could then, with training and focus, help them grow that talent. Is there anything in that kind of realm that you'd like to talk about?
Yes. As I mentioned, this one particular client in a couple, what do we hear? The self-talk that they give themselves. I'm not good at this. I'm not technical. All the I'm nots. And what I encourage them to say is that you don't have that skill yet. You've got to turn what you say to yourself differently and make it more positive. And so that's where in my podcast, I will many times talk about mindset and how it's going to change everything you do and say in life. And I don't call it homework. I call it life work, because if we change the way we do things all day long and it becomes part of us, habits form. And they do say, you need to do something at least 7 or so times over and over again in order for it to start to sink in and become a habit. So we have bad habits and we have good habits. So we need to shift our thinking into positive thinking, positive affirmations, surround yourself with positive people. And so I asked them to join a fantastic group of people I get on with every single morning, Monday through Friday. And I share that knowledge with them so that they can begin to see for themselves what our mind can do and not what we can't do.
I love it. And that is one of the first things that I loved about you the minute I met you, was just how you are so in tune with the wisdom and the mindset and the positive thinking. Like, that is just something that resonates from you, and something that I definitely appreciate and learn from you daily. So thank you for that. Marian, do you have any questions before I ask my next one?
I do. I also met your voice before I met you personally, and loved it. It made me feel good. It was every morning from, my time, 8 o'clock every morning, Monday through Friday. I got to hear Jessie Jenkins, and I got to hear your positive vibrations. I'm going to call it vibrations because that's how I felt. I felt positive vibrations. And you were introducing, all the different posts that were coming on. It was just such a great way for me to be introduced to you, because by the time I actually saw your face and got to know you a little deeper, in a different way, I already had such a positive thoughts, a positive feeling about you. So that's really good. It's all on the phone. If you'd like to join us, I'm sure Jessie and Kristi can tell you all about that. My question is about work-life balance. So we all have it, and I know you're a very busy woman. And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit, and maybe even Kristi could get involved in this, because work-life balance to me is so important. And it's not really balanced as in 50-50 or anything like that. It's more like, how do you keep everybody happy, including yourself, when you want to get so much done during the day? Like, I wake up in the morning and it's like Zoom until I crash out at night. And so you got to have something. So can you tell us a little bit about your balance?
Well, it's a work in progress. I am.
Good. I love that.
I am not going to say I have it down pat. I'm an A-type person. I am, and have been in my past, a workaholic. We all know about that, because there's just, if we allow it, it can consume us, but it can't be everything, right? It can't be everything. As a young girl, I kind of was taught, there were other things that we should put first. And I had to retrain my brain to finally later realize that there are times I need to put myself first. I need to take care of me, my needs, my wants, what I have to do. So I have to map out my day and say, okay, this is where I'm going to do work. And around another period of time, this is when I'm going to take time for me. And I'm going to go out and go to the gym and work out, because that's real important to me. That's important to me. Or meet a friend for lunch, or an early dinner, or things like that. Be around girl friends, right? Female friends. They're so refreshing. There's nothing like it. Believe it or not, that wasn't always something I did. It was work from time I got up to the time I ended. One of the reasons I got out of the corporate world, 60 and 80 hour weeks aren't exactly a lot of fun.
No.
And you have to, just like you schedule your appointments that are your work appointments, well, then maybe what we need to do is designate certain times of the day for us. Like, for instance, to give you an example, I'm so excited about being here. I have an agenda of things I need to get done for tomorrow. But the weather outside here on the East Coast out of New York is going to almost be 80 again. It's kind of our Indian summer, so to speak. I'm going to go and enjoy the sun today and enjoy that, because that also puts me in a good place. I'm not getting stressed. I'm not feeling like I'm missing out. And when you're in that more positive feeling, it reflects in everything you do. So if I'm going to do and begin a podcast, or even do a presentation, or write out emails, or do a post, that vibration, like Marian said, is going to exude one way or another. Am I tense? Am I stressed? As people will feel that. So there is where I have to remember, because it's so easy for me to get so enveloped in what I'm doing that I forget. So I think that if we can schedule, you look at your day, and maybe you can put an hour or two aside for you time. It's so important.
I love that. And especially, one of the biggest things that I hear from people is they want to have that me time. They want to have that time to relax and reflect, but they just don't know what to do. So you've just given a ton of examples of things that people can do. So I think that's really important, because I do believe a lot of people get stuck with like, okay, I have an hour to myself. What do I do? And they get so stuck in that. All right. So the next thing I want to ask you, it's maybe a little controversial, but it's about crypto. And we've all heard about crypto. I'm not very versed in it, but I have heard the good and the bad. So I was wondering, are there any myths that are out there that you could debunk for us right now?
I'd love to. Number one, there's something, and I don't want to get technical, but I'll give you something that you'll begin to hear. So you'll say, oh, now I've heard it, is that the technology behind good crypto products has something called a blockchain. That cannot be hacked. No one can get into it. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. And funds that are in there are protected. Now, what the myth is that they don't, one, understand that, and two, so I guess that's the dispelling of the myth, that is not where the funds get stolen or lost or hacked. It's actually human error that causes the hacks. Okay. It's not being very careful about how you're protecting what we call a wallet or the data that you control. See, in most cases, things are what we call decentralized, meaning you have ownership and control over it. So you want to make sure it's password protected. There's something called a two-step security process, 2F factor. There are what they call a 12-word phrase PIN. In most of these cases, only you have access to the password, to the 12-word phrase, most of the security you apply to it. And what happens is people are careless. They're not paying attention. They forget the 12-word phrase. They don't remember their password. And when that happens, there's nothing one can do to access their funds any longer. If they leave a wallet open, meaning they didn't password protect it, or they forgot to log out to lock it so that it requires a password to get back in, well, hackers are looking for those people. They're vulnerable. So
Right.
that's the other thing. So are there people who are scamming you and et cetera, et cetera? Those are true. So there are avenues to look into about companies and things we do before you get involved. And that is something we're all doing better. And the better companies that understand that's happened to people and what fear they have over it, you will find that they reassure people all of these other things are in place, and that you could feel the vibration of their sincerity as well, to say this is all about you folks and not having anything like that happen to you. We're here for the long term. So yes, you've got to be careful. You have to do your due diligence, your research. There's no doubt. But that is gotten so much better because we're not so vulnerable, so gullible, I guess is the best word.
Both of them.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, gullible
Yeah.
on everything. We've come a long way. So I think knowing the individual you're working with that's kind of in front of everything, in front of the software and everything that's happening in the background, makes a huge difference. Who they are and where they've come from and so on and so forth. No different than the example when the internet came into play. Wasn't that the same thing we all felt about the internet? What is this? Oh, it's only for terrorists. It's only for bad things. There are countries now that are using a unique cryptocurrency as their country's currency because these small little countries don't have access to the type of banking that we all are familiar with, nor do we want that type of control. That's decentralized.
You know, that's very interesting, and I'd like to have you back to delve into that more. I'd never heard that that part of it, so I'd love to. Jessie, I want to thank you for joining us today. It has been a real pleasure. And I have down on the ticker below a way for them to get a hold of you, Jessie-Jenkins.com. And I want everyone to stay tuned to her new podcast. I think this is great. Are you going to have your information on the Jessie-Jenkins.com website so that they can join you on your podcast?
Good point. Yes, I will. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also have an invitation to join us on that fabulous call Monday through Friday. Yeah. In addition to my newsletter that I put out, I call it Work Smarter Tip Sunday. I put it out. It's all about value. It's not about, pitching anything to you, but offering you value in what you might be able to do within your own business if that's something you desire to do, marketing tools, things like that. And maybe at the bottom, I might mention a recommendation once in a while. That is a second mind thought. It's really all about offering value.
I love it.
Jessie.
Thank you so much. From the bottom of our heart, it has been a pleasure. I've just grown to love you so much and so thankful that you decided to join us today. And as Marian said, please join us again. If you would like to find out more about our podcast, if you would like to listen in or be a guest, if you have any desire to start your own business or do affiliate marketing, I invite you to visit us at creativecontentcrusaders.com. We have an amazing group. We have everything that a small business or an affiliate marketer could ever need, and it's a great group. And so with that, I say thank you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to download your copy of Drought Proof Your Retirement. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.